A large model Showman'S engine. This one is part 61. Cleaning and polishing the silver soldered parts, machining the water inlet fitting, and a quick test run to check the water flow, then making the steam and water inlet piping. In the last episode I made this part to combine the water outlet into 1/4 inch pipe feed. It's been sat in a pot of acid overnight. Now I've taken it out of the acid and rinsed it, and it's time to clean it up. I cleaned as much of this as possible using my polishing spindle, but there were some areas I just couldn't get to. This is a method that I use for polishing up complicated components. First of all, I need some Brasso, or I could use T-cut. As long as it is an abrasive polishing compound, it's okay. Once the metal polish had been rubbed into all the inaccessible areas, I just used a cloth in the vise like this, applying more metal polish when required. This soon makes short work of the inaccessible areas and the part is nice and clean. Once I'd cleaned up the part, and I must admit it's looking quite good, I tightened the union nuts to hold this permanently in place. It's worth mentioning that every part of this pump is removable and serviceable. It's a good idea not to fix parts permanently in place in case you ever have to remove them. There's one more part to make, and it's an adapter to fit in the elbow to accept a 1/4 inch pipe. This is a commercial 3/8 by 32 threads per inch double union, and the first thing I'm going to do is drill down the centre at 3/16, because that is the internal dimension of a piece of 1/4 inch copper pipe. I want to avoid any bottlenecks in the water system at all costs. Once I'd turned this part down to 5/16 of an inch to fit in the elbow, I threaded it 5/16 by 32 threads per inch. This is a tailstock die holder that normally is fitted with a 5/16 by 32 threads per inch die. I have another one that's fitted with a 1/4 by 40 threads per inch die. Both are popular sizes that I use a lot. When I backed off the tailstock die holder, the part came out of the union nut that's held in the chuck, and with the help of one of my small Barco spanners, I removed the fitting from the die. Here I'm coating the threads using some Loctite 542 thread sealing compound, and now the part is screwed tightly into the elbow, and I really don't think it's going to leak. And here's the good news, the pump is just about ready to fit to the traction engine. Style-wise, I think it looks quite good. My double water adapter looks especially nice, and that's a good thing because this is the side of the pump that's going to be outermost when it's fitted to the Showman'S engine. Time for a quick test to see what the water flow's like, and it is really good. You can see just how much water's coming out, and the pump's moving very slowly. Originally this pump used 3/16 of an inch diameter pipe, but now both the steam inlet and the water outlets are fitted with 1/4 inch pipe, which is much better. And this should be more than sufficient to top up the boiler on my Showman'S engine. By the time I've finished, this Showman'S engine will have 3 water pumps: the crankshaft driven pump, this pump that you're looking at, and also, when I get it to work, the injector. Here's a top tip that most people miss out. Always clean the inside of the copper pipe before you silver solder it together. Piping this pump to the Showman'S engine is going to be tricky. Even though it's a large model, some parts of it are quite difficult to get to, so I'm making these pipe adapters to fit to the pump, which will make it much easier to pipe the pump into the engine once it's fitted to it. And possibly more importantly, the pump will be very easy to remove and refit. This clip shows me in the outer part of the workshop silver soldering one of the pipes. Once the part had cooled to black, I quenched it in water, but then instead of putting it into the acid bath, I just cleaned it up manually on the polishing spindle. Once I'd done that, the pipe was quite clean, but to finish it off I used some Brasso wadding. After polishing this piece of copper pipe, I fitted it to the pump as shown. Just in case you're wondering why there are 2 union nuts, one at each end of the pipe, please keep watching the video because all will be revealed shortly. Here I'm making the water pipe. This one's slightly more complicated and a good bit longer. After cleaning up the end of the pipe, both inside and out, I slid some union nuts onto the pipe and silver soldered union cones on each end. and now it looks like this. I'm now showing the reason why I used union nuts. I'm fitting a double union adapter into each of these, which will make the attachment of the steam and water supply much simpler than it would be if I had a very complicated long and bendy pipe. I was quite pleased how these turned out. They really do look like they're designed to be there. This engine looks very Industrial Revolution with a hint of Star Wars, particularly in this one. It looks a bit like a steampunk Terminator, which is, I suppose, not a bad thing. This is the important view though, because it's what you will see when it's fitted in place on the engine. When I finally fit the pump to the engine, which won't be long now, I'll probably have to bend these pipes, but for the moment I'm going to leave them as they are, because I really do like the look of this. May the water pressure be with you. And that's it for this one. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.